Now let's create a fin for the side of our engine and also a connector for a cable. So let's go to the top view here and just bring in a spline to create our fin. And so I want to just create a rectangle, and we'll just draw this out, be something like that as far as size goes. We can change the parameters, but I really just want to modify it manually. So I'll just go to Editable Spline, just right clicking on that. We can now select the different vertices that we have here, and actually just want a rectangle selection. And so I want to just move this back. And right now I just want them all to be corner points. So I'll just make them all corners. Kind of bring this back and bring this back in here. So placement, it's up to you. Shape, totally up to you. So just looking at this from the top, I want to bring this in. So maybe something like that. And then bring this back so it extends out past the pipes that we have here. Okay, so we've got something like that. We start to need more resolution as we get in here because we want to add a little bit more shape to this. Okay, so we can come in here and insert a point. So we'll insert one maybe right here, and then let's go ahead and insert another point kind of right in here. Okay, so we've got something like that. Now we can start to play around with some of the vertices that we have. So I want this to be nice and sharp. This one I want to be nice and smooth. So I'll go ahead and make that smooth. Okay, and I can make that a Bezier curve if I want it to. Let's turn this one into a Bezier corner to kind of sharpen that up as it comes in here and create that nice curve coming in. Okay, this one also. Okay, and so mine looks like that. Yours can look like whatever you want. But the key is to bring in the spline and then add the points and modify the way those points react. So we've got some smooth points, we've got some very sharp points. We can now go in and, as we saw before, add our bevel or our extrude. Coming in here and taking a look at what this looks like. You can see that this is pretty large. So we'll take the bevel and we'll take our height down a bit, so maybe something more like that. Let's move it up into position here, and let's also take our height down for our bevel. Okay, and let me set that back down. Let's take our outline maybe down a little bit. Okay, just so we get kind of a little bit of a hit on those edges so it's not completely sharp. Okay, so we change the color of that fin, maybe make it black for our project here. And if you wanted to make some other ones, you could just do the same thing with different splines coming in different areas of this. If you want to put something maybe on the top, you can certainly do that. Just go into the side view and draw that out, and then add your modifier to it. We also want to add kind of a connector for our cable. Now we don't know exactly where the cable is going to be yet, so we're going to have it's going to be moved around a little bit, but we just want the basic geometry in there. So what we can do is draw out a primitive right on the surface here. So to do that, we can go ahead and, let's say we want it to be kind of a cylinder shape. We'll choose a cylinder, but this time we'll turn on auto grid. So this will allow us to draw this right on here. So you can see how that's kind of turning around that object, and we'll put it kind of right in here and draw this right onto the object, and then if we pull down we can grow it out. So you can see it's drawn it right on the surface there, which is kind of nice if you have to really quickly draw something out and you want it to be that way you don't have to grab it, move it around, put it into position. It's already drawn right there into position. Now we can change our values here with our cylinder. And if we want to add some height cap segments, maybe we want to kind of dial the cap segments down so that we can kind of work with this extrusion here. We can maybe take the sides down. Okay, if we want to move it back into the object there a little bit. Let's now convert this to an editable poly. We can now take the polygon up here and start to do some work on that. So we can go in here, and this time let's use our graphite tools. So you can see here we've got extrude, bevel, shift. If we go into bevel, go into the bevel settings, you can see we get the same interface here. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. We're just approaching it from a different place. So kind of pull this down. Let's get this a little bit different. Bring that back in. Okay, so you can make this fairly small if you want to. Bring that out maybe. And you can change the values here for the inset values. So something like that. If you wanted to, make that a little bit larger. You can see that'll make it smaller. So we're going negative. Maybe negative 0.1. Okay, so maybe something like that. Okay, we can also do an inset here. So same thing. Go ahead and grab our inset. Make that a little bit smaller. And then we can extrude it in. If we just want to grab extrude, we can just push that in. Okay. If you want to, you can delete that because we know the tube's going to be extending in here. Okay. So just adding that, and it's on the surface here. So remember to use AutoGrid. Now remember, once we go to create another primitive, AutoGrid's on. So we want to make sure to turn that off if you don't want to use it. But it is right there with our object type. Okay, so now that we've got a little connector here for our cable, which we can modify as we go, but I think it'll work pretty well. And then we've got some fins. If you want to add some additional fins here, you can do that. I've just added a single fin on the outside there. But now that we've got that detail added, I want to talk about in the next lesson a new feature here in 2011, our object paint. So we'll take a look at how we could use that to quickly add some bolts around the engine here. So let's take a look at that in the next lesson.